Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98 for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Just like that, President Trump stripped Hunter and Ashley Biden of Secret Service protection, effective immediately, he said. We have the latest on this breaking story. The judge who ordered deportation flights of Venezuelan gang members to return is now facing calls for his impeachment. And President Trump again questioning the use of auto pen during the Biden administration. Finally, a federal judge decided a South Carolina man charged with threatening to kill President Donald Trump might be able to await trial on home detention.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but you know they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Okay, ready for this? The days of Hunter Biden and his never-ending taxpayer-funded joyrides are officially over. That's right. President Donald Trump, the man who said he had drained the swamp, has once again delivered, revoking Hunter and Ashley Biden's Secret Service detail after years of abuse, corruption, and outright arrogance at our expense. We've been paying for this. So here's what you need to know. Hunter Biden, the same guy who has been crying that he's poor, that he's broke, claiming he couldn't afford to pay child support, the same guy who said no one was buying his art. Well, we kind of understand that, don't we? The same guy who dodged taxes while living off his daddy's influence was caught vacationing in a ultra-luxurious $500 a night villa in South Africa while being escorted by 18 taxpayer-funded Secret Service agents. 18 agents babysitting one guy while he's sipping cocktails and shopping with his South African-born wife. And all of this while he's supposed to be in court. Earlier in the day, a reporter asked President Trump who was paying for the 18 Secret Service agents who were traveling with Hunter. The president said he wasn't aware of it, but he would look into it. Here's the exchange.
Mr. President, sir, there were 18 Secret Service agents protecting Hunter Biden in South Africa this weekend. Who's paying for that, and do you plan to revoke the Secret Service protection?
Well, we have done that with many. I would say if there are 18 with Hunter Biden, that will be something I'll look at this afternoon. Okay?
Sir?
I just heard about it for the first time. So you have 18 Secret Service going. Where is he exactly?
In South Africa.
In South Africa. And South Africa, you know, is on a watch list. You know that. Because what they're doing to people is brutal. And I've stopped having money go to South Africa. You know that. Billions of dollars. So he's in South Africa. That's very interesting. All right, I'm going to take a look at that. Thank you very much.
Now, of course, that was aboard Air Force One. So sorry, the audio was a little loud there, but he said, I'm going to take a look at it. Well, boy, did he take a look at it. So he canceled Secret Service protection for Hunter Biden and Ashley Biden. Now, the question is, what's really going on here? And why was Hunter Biden in South Africa? Well, it's not just a vacation. I suspect it's an escape. Hunter's probably realizing that the walls are closing in. He decided to get out of the country just as his legal troubles were getting worse. He even got a federal judge to drop a lawsuit against him while he was sipping champagne halfway around the world. Folks, if this were anyone else, if this were you, if this were me, or anyone without their last name being Biden, we'd be in jail faster than you can say laptop from hell. But it gets better. It gets better. Not only was Hunter living like a king on our dime, but his half-sister, Ashley, the one who has no official government role whatsoever, had her own 13-agent Secret Service detail as well. That's more than some world leaders get. You think your tax dollars are going to protect our border? No, 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 no. They're being used to escort Hunter and Ashley around the world while they live like royalty. But not anymore. Not anymore, because Trump saw what was happening, and he put a stop to it. He announced in classic Trump fashion that as of yesterday, Hunter and Ashley Biden no longer would receive Secret Service protection. And the media, they're melting down. How dare Trump cut off Hunter's taxpayer-funded security? How dare Trump do his job and put an end to this outrageous abuse? Secret Service protection is not a birthright. Hunter Biden is a 55-year-old man who has spent his entire life mooching off of the taxpayers, shady foreign deals, and his father's influence. If he wants security, then let him pay for it himself, or let daddy pay for it. And let's not forget here, this isn't just about Hunter. This is about a pattern of corruption from the entire Biden family. They have been mooching off of us for Joe Biden's entire career. Secret Service protection doesn't automatically extend to adult children or presidents. But Joe Biden, in the final weeks of his administration, while that auto pen was signing all those pardons and stuff, gave his son and his daughter full protection anyway. Why? Because they knew that once Trump took over, the gravy train would end. That was their last cash grab, their final taxpayer-funded joyride. But, folks, Trump isn't having it. Can you imagine what that reporter who opened this whole can of worms up is thinking right now? I wonder if he did it on purpose. I wonder if he knew that Donald Trump would dig in and that he would cancel their protection. Let's talk about South Africa for a minute, because there's another major piece of this. Trump also cut U.S. financial aid to South Africa, citing serious human rights violations. You heard him mention that he couldn't believe that Hunter was in South Africa. He cut the government's controversial land distribution policies that have been criticized as racist, brutal, and unjust. And these are some of the reasons he cited for not sending any more money over there. When America just stopped sending money to South Africa, why is Hunter Biden vacationing there? Is it a coincidence? I would think not, probably. There's something going on there. This probably goes deeper. Garrett Ziegler, the former White House aide whose organization exposed Hunter Biden's laptop scandal, came out and said Trump should strip his Secret Service protection, which he is not entitled to, and make Joe Biden, who is collecting 3 handsome federal pensions, foot the bill. Well, amen. I agree with that. Why should we be paying for Hunter's security detail when his father, raking in multiple government pensions, could easily afford it himself and probably has some of those millions stashed away hidden somewhere? And let's talk about the media hypocrisy. You know what they're going to say? Oh, Trump is being vindictive. Trump is targeting his political enemies. Trump is putting Hunter in danger. Where were these people when Trump ended Secret Service protection for Mike Pompeo, for example, John Bolton? You know, he has ended Secret Service protection for a number of people who don't need it, who don't deserve it. I was surprised when I learned that Mike Pompeo and John Bolton was still receiving Secret Service protection. Where was the outrage, though, when Trump cut theirs? There wasn't any. Because the media only cares about government perks when they benefit their people. But when Trump rightfully cuts waste, suddenly it's a scandal. It's vindictive. So let's sum it all up here. Hunter and Ashley Biden, living like royalty, protected by U.S. taxpayers while vacationing in foreign luxury. Trump found out, Trump ended it, and the Democrats are losing their minds. Does that kind of sum it up for you? This is why Trump is back in office. This is why he's sitting at the Oval Office desk and Joe Biden is not, or Kamala Harris is not. This is why the American people elected him again, because he doesn't bow to the establishment. He doesn't play their games, and he isn't afraid to call out corruption when he sees it. And I got a feeling we're just getting started. This is just the beginning. The swamp is panicking because they know Trump is coming for them as well. The free rides, the corruption, the insider deals, I think it's all about to end. I think it's all about to end for those Washington insiders like Joe Biden. And again, 18 Secret Service agents for Hunter Biden. 18. How much is that costing us? 13 Secret Service agents for Ashley Biden? That is unheard of. That is wasteful at its finest. And I am so thankful that somebody called this to Donald Trump's attention. So to all the freeloaders in Washington still enjoying the luxury vacations on our dime, you're going to be next. The American people are watching. Trump is keeping receipts. And let me tell you, folks, I got a feeling the best is yet to come, because Donald Trump is on a roll here. This is just the beginning. You see something, say something. You see government corruption, tell Donald Trump, he'll cut it out. Think about that. The same day that he found out about this, he cut it. He ended it. Now, they'll probably get sued. Somebody will probably sue to keep Hunter Biden's protection. I got a feeling they're going to lose that one, though. Hi, Joey Hudson here. You know, this spring there's a renewed energy and focus on efficiencies, and shaking up unhealthy habits don't serve us well. There's so much chatter about making America great again, but it starts in your home with you being the best, healthiest version of yourself. And PhD Weight Loss is doing their part, because for the first time ever, the first 11 callers get 2 free weeks added to your weight loss program. That is huge. PhD's out to prove that you don't need Big Pharma to reach your goals. It just creates dependency, not long-term change. Dr. Ashley Lucas researched weight loss trends for years and discovered a scientifically proven way to retrain your body to burn fat efficiently without hunger, extreme exercise, or dangerous medications. PhD clients watch their belly fat disappear, their energy skyrocket, cholesterol and blood pressure normalize without starving themselves. I lost over 30 pounds and I've never felt better. So call now and mention promo code Joey for my 2 weeks for free with my program. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. Should someone who has threatened the president, among a lot of other elected officials, be allowed to wait at home on house arrest until they're tried? That's the question that a federal judge in South Carolina is going to have to answer. It's in reference to Travis Lang. He is a 47-year-old man from Irmo, South Carolina. He pleaded not guilty last week to sending a message saying that he would kill President Donald Trump. So here's the story. In federal court last week, a Secret Service agent detailed how Lang has historically made threats to politicians at every level, not just the president, but down to the state level as well. Local, state, federal, Republicans and Democrats. No one is immune. Lang's bond to get out of the Lexington County Jail was set at $25,000. But when that might happen is yet to be known, because the judge has now ruled that he must have a psychological evaluation to determine if, in fact, he can stand trial. This will determine whether or not he can be released to his apartment or to a mental health treatment facility. If released to go home, Lang will be subject to a GPS tracking device, and officers will install software on his electronic devices to monitor his social media as well. He'll not be allowed to contact any public officials, according to the U.S. Magistrate Judge Paige Gossett as well. So this all started several years ago. His trial is set to begin on May the 7th. Prosecutors said that the threat Lang's charged with was a direct message over Facebook to his 23-year-old son on February the 17th. In it, Lang claimed that he had been tortured and provoked to kill myself and Donald Trump. Matt Riesenweber, a senior special agent with the U.S. Secret Service who has investigated the case, said, "I hope the money was worth it." The agent did not say what money Lang was talking about, or whether he is referencing a specific incident. Whether Lang's message is a true threat is the question as well. Since Lang didn't send the message directly to the president, his defense attorney, Jeremy Thompson, is arguing that it really wasn't a threat. Thompson said, "To me, it sounds like a cry for help more than a threat he plans to carry out against the president. Making a threat directly to the president would be difficult for most people, the prosecutor Scott Matthews said, because most people don't have access or the ability to send a threat directly to the president. Secret Service must take all potential threats seriously, he said, especially after 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump. In July, a 20-year-old man, you may recall, tried to assassinate President Trump in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania. Matthew said, "We know that every threat cannot be taken lightly." As you may recall, that the young man in Butler, Pennsylvania, had made some similar statements. He was just across the way on top of a building that Secret Service and other law enforcement evidently knew that he was up there. They saw him minutes before he fired the shot. Back to Lang. Mr. Lang had a history of threatening posts, according to the Secret Service. On October the 13th of 2020, he posted, "President Donald Trump, I could in fact threaten your life by killing you on an open table." Then on April 20th, 2021, the next spring, Lang wrote to President Joe Biden's account on X. Now again, he did not discriminate based on your party affiliation. He says, "Does your administration run counter to the mission at hand?" The Secret Service agent did not say what mission that was, went on to cite the law about threatening to kill a president, calling it a sacrifice. The Secret Service agent said the posting concluded, "I'm going to kill you given the opportunity." 2 years later, another threat. This one, April 13th, 2023, Lang posted on X that if elected president, if he's elected president, he would issue an executive order to execute Joe Biden and Donald Trump, as well as then Vice President Kamala Harris and former Vice President Mike Pence for abuse and misuse of office. Now, you say, well, why was he threatening to sign these executive orders if, in fact, he was elected president? Because he thought he might be elected president. The guy actually filed and paid the $6,000 filing fee to run for president in 2024. According to Federal Election Commission data, the account shows that he put the money, the $6,000, in the account. No other money was ever deposited, and he paid the filing fees. He told investigators that he had also run for president in 2020 as well, although the Federal Election Commission doesn't have anything in their records to show that he was, in fact, a candidate then. When Secret Service agents, including Mr. Reisenweber, visited Lang's home after the post in April of 2023 to warn him against making these threats, Lang told agents that he would continue to do so anyway. He was very defiant. Lang's alleged threats were not limited to presidents, though. 4 days after sending the message to his son, Lang emailed his wife's divorce attorney to say that he would like the new version of the CIA internal assassination guide because it was outdated, he said. He included a screenshot in the email of a decades-old government handbook that included instructions on how to kill someone. Lang's threats extended to other officials as well. He made a similar post about Republican U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, and he repeatedly sent emails, according to the Secret Service, described as threatening to State Attorney General Alan Wilson, who's a Republican, and Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott, who is a Democrat. Lang was also barred from the State House because he evidently harassed state lawmakers as well. The Secret Service did not specify when that began or which legislator had been threatened, but he was known to be on the State House grounds often and harass them. In December of last year, Lang posted a photo of 2 handguns and loaded magazines to his Facebook page. Though it was unclear when the photo was taken, Secret Service says that a probate court in 2021 ruled that Lang was mentally ill and not allowed to buy or own guns and ammunition. Originally from Kansas, Lang moved to Irmo, South Carolina in 2013 to work on the VC Summer nuclear power plant. He was laid off when that expansion went belly up. That's been a government boondoggle at its finest. So, should this guy be allowed to stay at home until he awaits his trial, or should he stay behind bars? Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. We talked yesterday about these rogue judges who are trying their best to sabotage what President Donald Trump and his administration is trying to do, things that we elected him to do, things that a majority of Americans elected him to do. I mean, he truly has a mandate. What we saw happen in November of last year was the first mandate that we've seen like that in many, many years. And it's very clear what the American people want done at the southern border. Everyone wants, well, I can't say everyone, because there's that small little sliver of Democrats, leftists, who believe that we should accept everybody. Everybody should just be allowed to come right into our country. Most people, 90+% of Americans, want our country to have borders. We don't want people to be able to just walk into our country and then take advantage of all that we have to offer. Take advantage of our social programs. Take advantage of our health care. Take advantage of our schools. Take advantage of all the things you and I work hard to pay taxes so that our government can provide, and yet these illegals come in, they don't pay anything, and they take advantage of all of it. So, as you know, at a record pace, President Trump and his administration, the Homeland Security, and everyone who's involved in this effort to secure our border has been working feverishly to make sure, one, that our border is secure, people aren't flowing in, and we have a record decrease. Since Donald Trump took office on January the 20th, the number of people coming into our country has decreased 95%. That is unheard of. I love it when White House Press Secretary Karine, that was a slip. Almost said Karine Jean-Pierre. Wow, excuse me, Caroline Levitt. I don't know how I made that one. But as she said the other day, how interesting it is that for years, Joe Biden's administration was saying that they needed this law passed. They needed Congress's help. They needed all these rules and regulations changed in order to stop the border. Caroline Levitt, her $1 million response is, all we needed was a new president, because he has gotten it done so quickly. But yet we have these federal judges every step of the way trying to stop it. The most recent, the Obama-appointed judge, James Boasberg, who issued an order over the weekend trying to halt President Trump's rapid deportation of these Venezuelan gang members, and tried to stop him. Now, you'll recall, I told you yesterday that one of the planes loaded with maybe it's several planes actually, with a couple 250 or so illegals, violent criminals. They were already in the air, And the Trump administration made the decision to ignore this Obama-appointed judge, as they should have. Good for them. You know, I read the article initially, the first news release about the judge's order on Saturday, and I'm thinking, if I were Trump, I would just ignore that. Well, that's exactly what they did. They ignored him, as they should have. So this judge tried to turn the planes around. Trump ignored them, and he is like a number of these federal judges. Yesterday, I talked with Drew McKissick, chairman of the South Carolina Republican Party, and we were talking about this. And Drew made a good point when he said that these are district judges who are trying to step in and disrupt what Trump is doing on a national basis.
Well, yeah, that plane was over international airspace at that point. So, but I know, I think it was last week, though, that the Trump Justice Department now has requested for the Supreme Court to step in, at least in terms of these federal judges, federal district court judges. Yeah. Now, keep that in mind. These are district court judges, not judges for the entire United States, but for one particular federal judicial district, issuing these sweeping nationwide injunctions against the Trump White House from doing A or B or C, the things that we're talking about a minute ago that people approve of.
Yep.
And trying to get the Supreme Court to step in and essentially say that, look, you're a judge for an individual federal district in California. You do not have power over the entire United States and what goes on nationwide. Something has to be done on that. They've been, I would say, more of a victim, to use that word, of that by regional and district federal judges than any other administration ever. And they've requested the Supreme Court to step in and just bring a halt to that. And I hope they do, because, again, it just goes to the heart of separation of powers.
Yeah.
That's what our Constitution rests on.
And Drew is right. There has to be a limit here. And hopefully the U.S. Supreme Court will step in and will clarify what role these district judges play. But some of these judges better be careful, because this movement to impeach this guy appears to be getting legs. Texas GOP Representative Brandon Gill, again, swiftly announcing plans to file articles of impeachment in an effort to remove him. Gill made the announcement on X, noting that he'd be filing the motion this week. In a subsequent tweet from Elon Musk, the big Trump supporter, I mean, Elon Musk is just amazing what he's been able to do. That's a whole other topic. He responded with initially just saying necessary, and then following up saying the very worst judges, those who repeatedly flout the law, should at least be put to an impeachment vote, whether that vote succeeds or not. And Musk is right. Scare them a little bit. I got a feeling that some of these judges might lose their jobs if they are voted on again. What do you think? Republicans have been piling on this district judge Boasberg after he issued a 14-day restraining order halting the Trump administration from deporting violent Venezuelan gang members. Violent. These people have committed murders. They have assaulted people. They have robbed people. Not to mention they came to our country illegally. So why would a judge want one of these gang members in his neighborhood? Why would a judge want to allow these people, would fight the Trump administration to keep these people, these violent criminals, from being deported? After the American people elected Donald Trump because he promised to do just this. Immigration, the southern border, securing our borders was the top issue in last year's election. No doubt about it. The economy, close second. But everybody talked about they do not feel comfortable with us having wide open borders and illegals flooding into our country. So how can these judges think that they're accomplishing something, or they're doing what should be done by delaying these people's deportations? Now, granted, this law, it's centuries old, the Alien Enemies Act. Last time it was used was during World War II. It was implemented in advance of a political war with the French at the time, due to fears that immigrants would sympathize with France. The law provides the president broad powers to imprison or deport non-citizens during a time of war. So you think about that for a minute. How do you argue with the idea that we don't have an invasion? That's what the ACLU argued. The ACLU said that Trump was using his wartime authority when we weren't being invaded and when we were not at war. Now, how the ACLU, any of these groups can argue that we're not being invaded is news to me. When you've had millions, and we don't even know how many millions, flood into our country, and with the idea that the Alien Enemies Act was its sole purpose was to protect us in this event, that you had immigrants here who might sympathize with the enemy. So look, we got millions over here. If they turned on us, can you imagine what kind of civil war we would have? And that's why Trump has to get the worst of the worst out of the country, and why a federal judge would not want that to happen. Let them come knocking on his door. Let them terrorize his neighborhood. Bosberg's ruling, again, came in response to this suit filed by the American Civil Liberties Union. The ACLU should be put out of business for stuff like this. This left-wing legal advocacy group, another one that joined the suit is a group called Democracy Forward. I have no idea what they do, but they're doing it wrong. The lawsuit, again, alleged that Trump's intent to use his wartime authority to deport these illegals was unlawful, again, since the U.S. is not in the midst of a declared war. Folks, we are in a war. We are in a war. Our country has been invaded. And here's the mysterious part of this, and I still haven't gotten to the bottom of this. The lawsuit, or the judge's order, this lawsuit was filed before Donald Trump even signed the order. Trump's proclamation, signed Saturday, alleged that violent gang members belonging to the Venezuelan-based Tren de Aragua were conducting irregular warfare and undertaking hostile actions against the United States. We saw that in Aurora, Colorado, when this gang member literally took over an apartment building. And you want to argue they're not terrorists? They took over an apartment building. They terrorized an apartment building. They hurt people in that building. They hurt American citizens in that building. And we know that this group, they're bringing drugs in. They're trafficking young children. They're just bad people. So why would any federal judge who's put his hand on the Bible, swearing to uphold our Constitution and to defend our country, why would he not want them out of our country? It's real simple, and I've said this before. He hates Donald Trump more than he loves America. You know, one final thing on that Air Force One flight. Hunter Biden's Secret Service protection was not the only issue that came up that could provide some heartburn for the Biden family. In just a minute, we're going to talk about a conversation, a question on this auto pen issue with Joe Biden and just what was used to sign that, and whether or not pardons and other official executive orders that was signed by auto pen, if in fact they are still in effect, if that voids them because Joe Biden did not sign them. We'll talk about that in just a minute. First, I ran out of time yesterday before I got to some of your text messages. A lot of you had things to say about the federal judges and the federal judge who was trying to stop the deportation of these criminals that were being shipped off to El Salvador. Texter says they're traitors. We want them to support our president in every instance, no matter their personal feelings. Now, he's talking about the federal judges. He says to trust President Trump, he can't get his plan implemented if people keep pulling the stuffing out of it at every turn. One thing affects something else. And if they would just follow the leader, we would eventually see his plan work beautifully. He certainly cannot do worse than Biden did here, given the authority that he has overwhelmingly earned. Another texter says, this is Albert, says, federal judges seem to believe that they are the law rather than a fair interpreter of the law since they're appointed for life. A federal judge can only be removed through impeachment. It's time for Congress to review a limit on the time a federal judge can serve and their ability to override a president's authority just because they have a different belief. Sherry says, hey, Joey, There's so much going on, it's hard to keep up with the news. You're right, Sherry. It's overwhelming at times. I wanted to say I think the ACLU should be audited. I know they're a nonprofit organization, but it seems to me their agenda is a little crazy. Extreme left. Love your podcast. Keep up your good work. Well, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. And look, I love your text messages. Keep them coming. You can email me directly as well, joey@joeyhudson.com. Texter also says, I've received a couple of emails updating me on Dennis Prager's health condition. He's doing better, but has a long way to go. He still needs our prayers. Sherry in Georgia. You're right, Sherry. Dennis is doing better, but does have a tough road, so he does need your prayer. So keep my buddy Dennis Prager in your prayers. What a great time we had last night. We had the first round of precinct meetings for Spartanburg. I'm in Spartanburg County. So had a great turnout. I saw Curtis Smith, chairman of the Spartanburg GOP, and Curtis said that I think he said they were expecting like maybe 200 and maybe close to 300 came. All I know is I had to stand up. But hey, that's okay. I'm good. There were not enough chairs in the room for everybody to sit down, so that's a good thing. And last night was night one of, I think they're having again tonight and maybe Wednesday night. Look, if you live in Spartanburg County, you're not sure, don't take my word for it as tonight and tomorrow night. Just search for Spartanburg GOP. And I do know that they have a couple more nights, and then they have their makeup too. So, but a great turnout. That was very encouraging to see so many people show up at their precinct meetings, because this is where it all starts. We've been talking about it for weeks now. March is reorg month. Then the conventions are next month, and then the state convention in early May, May the 3rd, I think it is. But it was great to see so many people at our precinct meeting last night, and it's just encouraging to see people get involved for sure. All right, so back to this Air Force One flight, where a number of issues. Trump stands there at the door going into his little suite aboard Air Force One, and he talks to the press. Now, that's something Joe Biden never did, but Trump loves to talk to the press. And he was asked, number one, he was asked about Hunter Biden's Secret Service detail, which, by the way, it's canceled now. If you missed early part of the show, go back and listen to it on the podcast. Just go to the Odyssey app, search for Joey Hudson, Just the Truth, and listen to the segment I did earlier in the show today about where Trump said, all right, the end. Hunter Biden had like 18 Secret Service agents. His sister or half-sister Ashley had 13. No way. We need to be paying for their protection. So the other question that came up was about Joe Biden using the auto pen. And President Trump said, this is a bigger issue. Here's the exchange in Air Force One when reporters were asking President Trump about Joe Biden using auto pen.
Biden and his people, and his probably auto pen. It looked like we had an auto pen for a president, and we would have been better off if we had, probably. But it looks to me like, that's a big subject. I'm sure you won't ask about that, but the whole subject of auto pen, did he know what he was doing? Did he authorize it? Or is this somebody in an office, maybe a radical left lunatic, just signing whatever that person wants? That's not what it's all about. I never use it. I mean, we may use it as an example to send some young person a letter, because it's nice, we get thousands and thousands of letters, and letters of support for young people, for people that aren't feeling well, etc. But to sign pardons and all of the things that he signed with an auto pen is disgraceful.
And he raises a good point. At some point, I think maybe even the U.S. Supreme Court is going to have to weigh in on this. Is an executive order valid if it's signed by the auto pen? Or what can be signed? I mean, the auto pen is set up to do things just like the president said, maybe for correspondence. And because they get thousands and thousands of letters. Same thing that congressmen and U.S. senators do. They have these machines and have for years that sign a lot of the letters because they get so much correspondence. You can't expect them to sign every single piece of correspondence that goes out of their office. Same thing with the White House. And kudos to them that they do try to respond to everything that comes in. So White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt yesterday blasted CNN's Caitlin Collins after the reporter demanded evidence for President Trump, his claim that pardons signed by former President Biden were void. Collins questioned Levitt during the White House press briefing about Trump's post on Truth Social, in which he made the case that some of Biden's last-minute pardons were void and vacant because they were allegedly signed by AutoPen without his knowledge. The network, which is, by the way, ratings challenged, their chief White House correspondent and primetime anchor pressed Ms. Levitt if there was any evidence. She kept using the word evidence supporting Trump's claim, to which she shot back. Now, this is Levitt responding, "You're a reporter. You should find out." Good. This is why I love this lady. Caroline Levitt is so fast on her feet. She's right. If they're so curious about this, CNN needs to launch a full investigation. On social media, Trump questioned the validity of Biden's pardons, claiming the aging Biden had no idea who may have used the AutoPen to sign off on the 11th hour preemptive pardons for former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, and Dr. Anthony Fauci, among others. The Trump wrote in the Post, "The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by AutoPen." Collins asked Levitt if Trump's legal advisors had spoken to him before he posted his claim on social media. Levitt replied, "The president was raising the point. Did the president even know about these pardons? Was his legal signature used without his consent or knowledge?" And those are valid questions. The press secretary then zeroed in on Biden's cognitive ability when he made the pardons. She said the president was begging the question that I think a lot of journalists in this room should be asking. She continued, "I think it's a question that everybody in this room should be looking into, because certainly that would propose certain criminal or illegal behavior if staff members were signing the president of the United States autograph without his consent." And these are all valid questions, and I hope questions that CNN will ask very soon. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.